Hi, this is Cynthia Ortiz. These are the Charles Perry Stalker podcast. We do the disclaimer. It is 12/19, December 19, 2021. We do the disclaimer, use allegedly, apply the but-for standard, but for Mr. Perry's stalking and harassment. We wouldn't have to do these. These are to address Maine's Ray, his intent and his malicious intent to cause me some sort of profound catastrophic loss. Um, Perpetrate a fraud upon a court, stalk, harass, bother, peep, poke, harass, bother, one problem after another. And so, but for all that, him trying to cause me injury in the form state of Oklahoma, we wouldn't have to do these. These are to document what I'm going through as a stalking victim. Apply the reasonable person standard. What would you do if your life was threatened all the time? If someone threatened your safety and your well being all the time, every day? I'm a victim of a crime constantly re traumatized, constantly having to be very, I have to pay very, very close attention to what's going on around me. I have to pay very close attention to what people say to me. I have to keep my head straight. I can't lose it. I have to be, I've gone through this for 10 years, very, very successfully, by the way, because I have police helping me from somewhere else. We work together very well. Everybody, has asked me if I am a cop, and I've said no. I don't know why I'm even asked, because if I was a cop, I can lie, by the way. Can I not? Okay, but no. I have a title. We're gonna call it trash collector right now. I help collect the garbage, human garbage. So, anyways, I can I'll sting up pretty much anybody. But when you do something constantly all the time for as long as I've done it, it's do or die. You answer something wrong. You might have a friend ask you where you live and it seems innocent. It's not. Mr. Perry's, been to that friend. Either he sees him hacking or he sees, where I'm hanging out, whatever. And he's gone to that friend and asked them to try to help him with the, give us information on where she lives, give us this, give us that. Um, Obviously, it's not, super close friends, although um, when I first came to Oklahoma, I do know that one of my friends texted me and said, I understand you moved. Where are you? What's your address? I want to send you a card. And she did not want to send me a card. She gave my address to Charles. And I'm sure he made that sound innocent. But that was when I first came to Oklahoma. He had my address immediately. Here I came here to get away from him, and he got that information very quickly. So if you look on the Stalking Resource Center, victimsofcrime.org, they do have information like that stalkers will do that. They'll pretend they'll be real friendly and nice to your coworkers or to your family, to your friends, and, I have good intentions, and then get information from them, personal information, addresses, phone numbers that you're trying to not let them have, and they'll get it, and they'll from those people that are close to you. So that's not unusual for stalking. Also, we know, of course, Rebecca Schaefer's stalker killed her. He got her information from the DMV, and the after that, we had pretty much every state in the country implement protected addresses for stalking victims. I use that. It does delay my mail. It's frustrating sometimes because my mail gets delayed, and I've had to use more than one protected address. So it'll go to the protected address through the state, and then it'll go somewhere else. Then I get it. So it's a pain in the ass, but it's better than ending up dead. Mr. Perry's been recorded more than once talking about killing me. He gets recorded a lot. So the first recording of that was because he has a police investigation. I'm not told exactly how all this works and how they get information. I understand currently there's some from wiretap, there's some from leaks, there's some from, there's a mix. But I'm going to explain this to you. You guys who work for him, I mean, read the book, How to Be Nice to People So They Don't Want to Hit You in the Face with a Brick. When people don't remember much always what you say, but they remember how you made them feel. So when you walk in the room and you pose a threat, my guys tell me all the time, we hear people are very frustrated that they're treating you the way they're treating you. Why are they doing this to Cyndi? Why are they doing this to Cyndi? When I worked at Lady Godiva's, two of my coworkers pulled me in the bathroom and said, that Texas senator was in here telling us that we had to make you not like Fabian, you and Fabian not like each other, and that you were gonna have to go back together with him, and if you didn't, he was gonna put you back in jail. And we want to say that is the sickest thing we've ever heard. Why not just, what happened at dinner and a movie? What's this deal? Why is he always trying to put you in jail? And that was in 2017, and I had just gotten back from jail from him doing that. So I said, they were like, this Fabian guy must be a hell of a guy, if he's this threatened to come in here and tell us that. Now we feel threatened that if we don't make you change your mind, he'll do the same thing to us that he's doing to you. Like, it makes us very worried. It makes us very uncomfortable. It makes us very scared. So what the hell is going on here? And they wanted a little bit more information, and they let me know that Mr. Perry and his little crew, David Robertson was a part of that, would be very intimidating, very threatening, very unnerving. And girls or people around me were asked to do things they did not want to do. They weren't comfortable doing it. And I had customers come in and tell me they wanted me to say XYZ to you, and I'm not a weirdo. I'm not going to say that. I had two police officers in 2015 tell me they wanted us to just find a way to arrest you. And we're not cool with it. We're not cool with that at all. So, but some guys will do it. So make sure you just kind of watch what you do, watch what you say, keep your nose clean, and you're going to have to be extra careful. I mean, we know you're not a criminal type, but they're going to try to make you into one. So just you're going to have to be extra careful. And I was like, okay. So that actually, that made them uncomfortable, that they were asked to just find a way to arrest me. They're still doing that. There's phone calls that were made today asking the same thing. Every day, the same thing. So if you look at what the McNamara email says, this was to my ex-husband on October 29, 2015. That's what the whole email says. Mr. Perry's just trying to find a way to false arrest me. He wants to bribe me. He wants to coerce. He wants to intimidate. There is a law called Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 1512 and 1513, that he's already violated. He violates it every day. So he's doing this again. He's done it every day since I got home from the first time he did it. So in Oklahoma, what he did, I'm not a criminal. He was trying to frame me for a murder. He's tried to get me to do not sex trafficking, drug trafficking. He was trying to get me. He had somebody give me jewelry. Then they wouldn't. They made sure I didn't make any money. You get online, you apply for a job. They call that guy. Don't give her a job. He's done that for years. We have a witness that said, as long as I've known Charles Perry, he trolls women. He puts hidden cameras in their home when they're not there. He picks divorced women with kids. Then he gets them fired from their job. Then he hacks them so he can see where they're applying for another job, and he makes sure they don't get another job. Then they lose their house. Then he has the ex take the kids away. He's a sexual sadist. He said he likes getting women hysterical. Then he'll go, and I'm quoting, rub one out. It's a sex addiction to him. He was abused as a child, and he's making the rest of us pay for that. So there is a department at the FBI called the Behavioral Science Department. They do serial killer type stuff, the profiling, and that department and criminology, that specialty, those were set up just to figure out why the fuck people do shit like that. And you have Lonnie Athens. Okay, so my college, by the way, I'm in criminal justice college right now. I started out in psychology, and I started taking a lot of criminal justice courses because I was raised by 3 generations of police. My granddad was the chief of police where I grew up. He was also a city councilman and a county treasurer. He was an elected official where I grew up. My family was the power in the town where I grew up. So, anyways, because we talked about law enforcement all my life, I grew up in a damn police department. We had judges walking through, flipping Mr. Judge McNamara. I remember him helping me tie my shoe when I was like 5 years old. This was the environment I grew up in. And anyway, so I started taking classes, criminal justice classes as electives. And then because I was taking a lot of criminal justice classes and I liked it, I changed my major actually to criminal justice, law enforcement administration. So I've taken a lot of classes already, much more than I took psychology classes. Um, when you're a victim of a crime and you're going through this crap every day, and you grew up in law enforcement and politics, the politics is very very minimal compared to the rest. But the person after me is an elected person, but that person was elected intending to get police to make him more available for undercovers to talk to him, and he still's not getting that. Anyways, so we have, this is an area of study for me. At this point, I have a 3.9 GPA, so I'm doing very well in it. Um, but there are entire bodies of people who study why in the fuck would anyone do that to another person. It's disturbing. It's far, far, far outside social norms. Why would you want to arrange the false arrest of a woman who rejected you? Why would you want to cause a woman to lose her job? She's got kids. Now she's stressing out. This was a nice, peaceful, happy home. They had systems in place. They had support in place. They had everything going the right way here. And now all of a sudden the rug's been pulled out from under them. Just because you can. Mr. Perry decides, I can. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, Mr. Perry. And I'm going to tell you right now, no girl ever, as a child, sat around and thought, when I grow up, I'm going to marry a serial killer. I'm going to marry a guy who sits around and peeps and pokes all day and causes problems. I'm going to marry a guy who hurts people and buys cops and judges. No girl ever says that, Mr. Perry, ever. So, there's nothing attractive about what you are or what you do. Nothing. And so you'll never get a date with me. I understand you're talking also about, my guys are telling me this. The chatter today is about they want to get you a house. They're still talking about the fucking house. Make sure it has a garage. Why? So you can lock me in it and I can't go anywhere? Leave me the fuck alone. I guess you guys were supposed to get my driver's license from me this weekend and things didn't work out, did they? Okay, but we know that you want my driver's license. We've already talked about you had my social security card taken. It was reported stolen. You had my birth certificate taken, and everybody's already commented on that ain't normal. There is no good reason for him to have those documents. So, duly noted for the record already, over and over and over and over. I'm not going to get in your house. I'm not going to lie for you. I'm not your girlfriend. You make my skin crawl. You come anywhere near me, I'll beat the fuck out of you. Everybody knows you're trying to do a second false arrest. You came into Gun Ives and told everybody in there. We got you recorded talking to Fabian. I'm going to find a way to arrest her again, and this time she won't get out unless she's with me. You need to give up. No, he doesn't. And you're butting in. You're the butt in, sir. It's not between you and Fabian, this fight. I told David that way back when. The fight is, there shouldn't be a fight. I chose someone else. It's not you. You're not my type. You are not my type. You're a monster. The way you make people feel is awful, like you're terrorizing everybody and everyone's sick and tired of it. I get that you have no life. Not our problem. I get that you're abused as a kid. Not our problem. In the process of my studies, we studied Lonnie Athens. He's a criminologist. And he was abused as a child, sir. And he didn't use it as an excuse to fail. In fact, he said, only 1% of the population becomes a violent offender using their abuse as an excuse to fail. 99% of people, 99% of the population finds a way to overcome it and not hurt anybody. So when you go around making all these negative emotions, and my guys come around and they're promising to end it, what do you think people are going to do? I don't like you. I don't. What am I going to do? Walk in and go, hi, honey, how many cops did you buy today? How many judges did you buy today? How many people did you kill today thinking you're going to get away with it? How many women's lives did you turn upside down with your little peep and poke thing? No. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. You're off your nut. There's no fucking way. That goes against all of my DNA. My granddad left a legacy for us that is, fantastic. We're very proud of him. You have to leave a legacy too, Mr. Perry, for your family. You do that by how you spend your time every fucking day. This email right here, Everyone knows you're still trying to do it. You might vary a few details, but you're still trying to do it again. So my guys' chatter today is how they were trying to get your driver's license and that didn't work out, and how they want to get a house for you with a garage so they can lock you in it, and then you can't go anywhere. We got them on wire. You want to subjugate me? No, you have never subjugate me. You're never gonna subjugate me, because I have some help. I have help you can't get to. So people are sick and tired of feeling the way that you make them feel. Scared, worried you're going to do the same thing to them. We need you to help us. We need you to help us get this information out of her, or that information that we're going to use to hurt her. And if you fuck it up, we'll do the same thing to you we did to her. How do you, So if somebody's coming around trying to get cooperation to lock your ass up so that you can't do that anymore, what do you think they're going to do, Mr. Perry? It's the natural reaction. Anybody, everybody, people, avoid pain, gain pleasure. Avoid fear, sadness, loss. I'm scared they're going to find a way to arrest me. I'm scared they're going to find a way to take my house. I'm scared they're going to find a way to ruin my life. I didn't ask for this. I did not ask for this. I didn't sign up for this. Who the fuck do you think you are? Mr. Perry, who the fuck do you think you are? You're not entitled to get away with murder. You're not entitled to get away with theft. You're not entitled to get away with coercion, witness tampering, victim tampering, harassment, invasion of privacy, hacking or cloning electronic devices, broadcasting women all over the internet. You're not entitled, sir. You're operating far outside social norms. And the way that you tell a society, the quality of a society, is what they don't tolerate crime. They don't tolerate it. What we do with the monsters amongst us. We said no. That's it. It's over. Once we say no, that's the end of it. No means no. And it should take one time. And only one time. Nobody owes you a lie. Nobody owes you a cover-up. Nobody owes you anything. And now we got a reporter asking our guys, why is it that every time he's supposed to run for office, he wants Cynthia in jail? Why is that? Because you need a cover-up. Everybody thought, you're this nice Christian baby Jesus, I go to church, family man, and I ripped the mask off you. I come from law enforcement. That's what we do, Mr. Perry. Because you're causing suffering, you're terrorizing people, and everyone's sick of it. And you guys working for him, listen to the words I'm saying to you. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. Write down a time in your lives when you were caught this much. Since you went at me, what's different about when you go at me versus any other time? Because this isn't your first rodeo. We all know that. So how is it that before you did this shit, you got these women subjugated? You got people all scared and worried and doing exactly what you wanted. And not this time. Didn't I say that about 5-6 years ago? Not this time. Because I have help. This being varied a little bit, Mr. Perry, is still this. The McNamara email. Nothing has changed. You just changed the reason. That's all you did. So I'm trying to get a protective order, because if you're getting threatened with death and false arrest, you need a protective order. Number 2 says she didn't bring her police report to court with her. This law says you have to. It's Marler versus Clower was the Oklahoma Supreme Court case that decided you got to have the police report and you got to have it in court. And I didn't. I had the case number. So this was the threat. I'm getting sick. I buy charcoal. I'm trying to go work. And I'm about to be killed with poison being put in my drinks. I'm buying charcoal to kind of absorb, because I got to work. I have a son to take care of. I have a house payment. And so we have, I asked him, is it arsenic? He said yes. This was in October. This was the police report I filled out, because things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. They escalated so badly that Mr. Robertson made everybody very uncomfortable. Customers complained to the waitress about it, and he got asked to leave. I was told he got asked to leave for another reason, and that might be 121:16. Mr. Perry, don't poke and peep. Go away. This was the date of arrest, and I wasn't charged in Oklahoma because this happened in Oklahoma, and so because it happened, the injury happened in Oklahoma. The police report was filed in Oklahoma, and I'm going to tell you something. I don't call police, local police. I don't, unless I have to. It's the law. I have no choice. Otherwise, you don't have. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been chased all over town. I don't call Tulsa police. I don't need them. I've got this. I've been doing this for 10 years. I have help from somewhere else that's actually getting the job done. Don't need Tulsa police. If I have to call them, I do. If there's someone else getting beat up, I'll call them for that. But I don't call them for me. I don't need them. So I filed this because the law required it. Then, 9 days later, I'm charged in Lubbock, where I haven't lived for 2 years, and charged with filing a false police report with an, what is the charge? Filing a false police report in retaliation for a public servant doing his job as a senator. Since when is poisoning, stalking, harassment part of the legislative duties, Mr. Perry? Nowhere are there conversations at all, anywhere, that I don't like your pro-life position, or I don't like that, or I don't like this. I didn't give a shit. You didn't matter to me. I'd been in politics all my life. All my life. I had a conversation with Aurora about the Texas bill, and I didn't say I don't like the Texas bill because I'm pro-choice. What I said is this isn't going to pass the Supreme Court because it's not worded in a way that would cover the equal protection issues, and I was right. And what I was upset about is the extension of session to put that bill through and the waste of taxpayer dollars. And that actually was not decided. The person that decided to move forward with that bill was Governor Perry, not little bitty podunk nobody Charles. 3% of the state's population is his district. It's 86% Republican. You can't put a Democrat in that office because the demographic of voters is 86% Republican. They demand someone pro-life. They demand somebody pro-protection of marriage. They demand somebody pro-gun rights. So all that would happen is you could, if you want to replace Mr. Perry, is you replace him with him minus the stalking. You cannot get a Democrat elected in that town. You can't do it. So what's the point? I didn't say anything for 4 years. I only told a few close friends, and most of them didn't live in Texas. I went to your campaign guy and said, make him cut it the fuck out. I said this in writing. When you write something down at the time, kind of like these podcasts, it's to address the mindset of the person speaking, the intent of the person speaking at the time, before you can anticipate what someone else may do in the future that would hurt you. And you need this. And thank God I did that. Like the McNamara email. That information came from somebody in Lubbock that was deeply disturbed by what Mr. Perry was telling everybody he was about to do to me. That didn't come from anybody in Oklahoma. This came from somebody in Lubbock, deeply disturbed over Mr. Perry telling everybody what he was going to do to me. And then he did it. So once you got somebody that's carried out a threat, subsequent threats are that much more terrifying. I lost my home. My mugshot was smeared all over the place. You got caught stalking. You needed a cover-up. So you did that to me. You did that to my child. We lost our home. You didn't have that right. You did not have that right. So what they did, because I didn't get a call back from Tulsa Police until the 15th, I'm already sitting in jail. I'm in Lubbock at this point. We need your evidence. So what happens when a crime is reported to a police department is they have to collect the evidence. And that evidence has to be collected a certain way. Bagged, tagged, pictures have to be taken. It has to be done very carefully because it has to hold up in court. They needed a blood test to see if I was being poisoned with arsenic, didn't they? They needed the video from Lady Godiva's on the night in question. The night that I reported something happened bad at my work. They needed the text from Dave, between Dave and I. All of that stuff they needed. And they got none of it because Mr. Perry, by physical force, prevented and delayed the reporting of his crime to the local law enforcement where the crime happened. That is 1512, 1513 as it gets. Violations. Since that minute, he's been trying to do it again. Mr. Powell made no effort to preserve my evidence, meaning he had no intention of ever going to trial. So why is he holding me for 2 months? Well, if you're poisoned, you got to let that stuff run out of my system. Because what should have happened is told some police collect it, have a forensic pathologist review my blood and hair and to see if there's arsenic in it. And maybe there's not arsenic in it. Because I Googled my symptoms. So maybe it's something else they're giving me that's making me sick. If they weren't poisoning me, though, I promise you, there would have been a press conference. We made sure she was tested. There's nothing in her blood. She lied. See, I'm a victim. But they made sure there was no test. Obstruction of justice, destruction and altering evidence, and perjury. Because he had to go to a courtroom and testify that I targeted him politically. Didn't live in Lubbock, hadn't for 2 years. Don't give a fuck about how he votes. I never lived in his district. I lived in John Frullo's, and by the time he ran for senator, I was gone. I was long gone. I helped him get elected because there were police that wanted to talk to him about some things in different jurisdictions. It's a lot easier. If he's never in Lubbock, he's like, gosh, I'd love to go in and pretend I need my taxes done, but the guy's never in Lubbock. So it's easier if we get him elected. He's always out trolling women, like our witness says. Broadcasting women on the dark web, selling watch time. All over the world, all over the net. You don't know who all's seen it and who all they reported that to. But you want me shut up. You want me subjugated. You're going to false arrest me. You're going to frame me up for something. You're going to kill me. You're going to take my driver's license. You're going to gaslight me. Blah, blah, blah. Now it's just boring. Because you do the same thing over and over and over and over. We've got recording after recording after recording after recording. And I've been like, I told you so. Well, but I told you so. Yes, but I did say that. Well, but I did tell you so. Who do I have helping me, Mr. Perry? So my charges were dropped. My charges were dropped. In my favor. That's an easy lawsuit right there. And they have... you got some people watching my civil cases right now too to look for similarities because you're suspected of other crimes, Mr. Perry. Be very careful what you do, sir. This, Mr. Perry, don't poke and peep. Motherfucker, don't. Get a life. Don't contact me. Nobody asked you what you think. You gotta stop out. Listen, you have got to stop thinking I care what you think. I don't. You weren't asked. Stop thinking that. It is bizarre. I don't care what you think. I asked you not to contact me ever again, didn't I? You're in a jam of your life right now, and you don't even get that, do ya? You're in the jam of your life right now because you fucked with me. Because when you fuck with me, you get caught. You fuck with me, you get caught. You fuck with me, you get caught. You don't get a date. It's been 10 years. There's never going to be a date. I'm not going to live in your house of hell. I'm not taking your bribe, and I'm not going to lie for you. You're not owed that, sir. What you need to do is comply with the law like everybody else. And stop acting far outside social norms and making everybody else very, very uncomfortable with you. Very uncomfortable with you. And sick and tired of it. Sick and tired of you, sir. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. Fuck off. You're in trouble because you won't do that. When a woman says, I don't want anything to do with you, leave me alone. One time, sir, is all that should take. One time. And because you ignored the law and ignored my wishes and imposed and burdened, you get told on and told on and told on. And that's all you get. And you guys go have another little meeting. Let's go have another little meeting. And let's do everything again today that we did yesterday that did not work. What were the desired outcomes you had on your goal sheet 6-7 years ago? Ours was catch a bad guy. Look at all the evidence of your crime that's come out since then. 6-7 years ago, Mr. Perry. And you don't have a date, and you don't have a cover-up, and you blew through $25 million trying to get a cover-up, didn't you? And you didn't get it, did you? You're pissing people off. Everybody's sick and tired of you. Look at what's before you, sir. You don't have any grasp on reality, do you? None. The whole thing yesterday blew up, didn't it? Because you don't know what you're doing. You have no grasp on reality. The more you contact me, the more you peep and poke, the more you bother and bother and bother and harass and harass and harass and cause problems for me, the more you get caught. You're pissing everybody off. The more you bother me, Mr. Perry, and peep and poke, the more you get caught, sir. You're breaking the law. You're offending everybody. Cut it the fuck out. You're the one getting caught. I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything but kick you off me. It's like you've broken into my house, jumped on top of me, you're raping me, and I'm kicking you off, and I'm kicking you off, and you're crying and whining, please stop. No. You want me to stop beating the fuck out of you, get off me, and get out of my house. 40 cops are all over you all the time. Because you won't get, they're pulling you off me, sir. And everybody, I'm not going to explain every time I use a metaphor. Keep up with me, I'm not slowing down for you. This was planned when I was in jail. This was second false arrest. Let's harass her, and then when she complains about it, we'll say she's harassing us. Like I said, you get off me, you get out of my house and stop raping me, and then you won't have 40 cops pulling you off me all the time and me kicking you. You're not the victim, sir. So this was planned. There's two things, Mr. Perry, that people are questioning seriously. Your name's attached to both of them. And I've linked you to it more than once, in more than one way. I'm very good at what I do, sir. You need to wake up and realize what you're dealing with. This is... Justice Scalia died in West Texas while they were planning this. That's very suspicious timing and place of his death. And he's the Supreme Court judge that would have ruled against you, and you know that. So you were going to perpetrate a fraud upon the court and the highest court of the land. You've done that 6 times now. I understand. Go into court and lie. Let's allege this and let's allege that, and I'll just buy the judge. You're going to go to jail for that. I promise. So this is the second one of, we're going to do a false arrest. Okay, so he's done the jewelry thing, give her jewelry, we'll starve her to death, and then when she pawns it off, we'll say it was stolen. My guys have their guy look, take a picture of it. Well, our guy looked at the jewelry, and he says, this is Walmart shit. No pawn shop would even take it. It's not worth $10 put together. So I don't think they've given it to you yet. So the guy that they're using to do that, whose wife used to be the auction person, don't have anything else to do with him. I cut him off because of that. Then we had, because I was, we don't always cut people off. We'll sting up them. We don't always just walk off when we know we're dealing with one of Charles's people. I'll talk to him. I'm going to sting up your ass. If I think you're involved in it, and you won't know that's what I'm doing, I promise. You won't have a clue. Anyways, so that's suspicious. And also, of course, 6 days after the vandalism report, the death of Lucky Miller, Chief Miller. Chief Miller, who everybody wanted to know if he came into a strip club, and we talked, and what we talked about, and how I knew Mike had to be coaxed to Pensacola because he didn't want to go. But, you always plan a crime. You got to coax people to go to the location where you're going to do the crime. We know that. Duly noted for the record. You're not fooling anybody now. Ringtone Richard, once, we get probably 50 recordings of Ringtone Richard talking about, I got to get a ringtone. Then 9 pages of phone calls. And everybody's like, well, you can't say she's crazy. The whole idea was harass her. Then when she complains about it, we'll say she's harassing us and that she's crazy. It's hard to do when she's got 9 pages of phone calls where you're trying to get a ringtone over a couple of days. Oh, shit. Now what? Okay. So, you don't understand what you're fucking dealing with at all. We're irritated as hell. This was the letter to the U.S. attorney I sent. He's trying to use law enforcement to hurt me, to harass me. Some of them don't like it, by the way, Mr. Perry. So 2 of them came in and told me about it. I wrote the U.S. attorney. This was before my first false arrest when they're trying to plan the second one now. They had me seen by a shrink. She said she just wants to be left alone. You think? She just wants him to leave her alone. Read that. Anybody can read it. That's after a year and a half of therapy. A year and a half. Not a day, not an hour. A year and a half. 1 hour per visit. Sometimes 2, Mr. Perry. And you guys don't have the medical degrees to do that. Yeah. Medical Practices Act violation. That's illegal too. But, what's one more? Here's what I'm telling people the first time in 2014. Leave me the fuck alone. I didn't tell anybody but a few close friends. And at this point, I was asking Ben Campbell, I'll sign an NDA if he will leave me the fuck alone. Only a handful of people in Lubbock knew there was a problem. And it was never about abortion, and the problem was never about a political issue. It's always about stalking, not part of your legislative duties, sir. You need to get a grip on reality. These are texts between Mr. Robertson and I. Mr. Perry, get a grip on reality. We're sick of you. You're the one operating outside social norms. You're the one breaking the law. He always types in my computer when I'm doing this, and then when I start, if I stop and say stop doing that, he will. So I'm recording this, so somehow he can hear me. My guys tell me he has got my phone hot mic'd. So none of this. This is a death threat right here. This is not about abortion. This is not about, any kind of political issue, is it? The environment. It's not about any of that. This is a death threat. Why would he make a death threat? I don't know this guy. He only would if he's hired. Because this man and I don't know each other. He has no motive to want me dead. Mr. Perry did. Mr. Perry did. So we're talking about him giving me drugs. There's somebody broke in my house. By the way, Mark Swafford never came and looked. I texted him, I think I emailed him the picture of my screen ripped up. We had somebody breaking in my home. And Swafford put it, I guess Josh Burson in his affidavit said, Swafford said she's something. Now I don't remember exactly what it was, but Swafford never came to look. So Swafford didn't know what he was talking about, whether there was somebody coming in my house or not. Never came to look. No pictures were taken. No investigation done. Nothing. So there's that. False police report. We have two. We have two of them where there's no investigation, Mr. Perry. You have to investigate something to determine whether or not it's true or false. And in order to investigate that, Mr. Perry, you must have evidence. There must be a blood test to rule out foul play or support your claim that I lied. It has to happen, sir. You went into court and you made crap up. You always do. 6 times. You're about to be... I mean, my guys are like... People are so anxious for us to hurry up and arrest these people. They're sick of dealing with it. Nobody likes the way you make them feel. Tortured and tormented and tormented and terrorized and terrorized. Same way Hitler did. Same way Saddam Hussein did. And everybody knows the Gandhi's quote. Murderers and tyrants seem invincible for a time, but they always fall. History has shown they always are stopped. Because at some point, somebody gets tired of it, Mr. Perry. They get sick of it. Somebody's going to clean your clock. Somebody somewhere's going to say, you stop hurting people, Mr. Perry. Stop hurting people. You don't get to do that. You're not entitled. No one cares how you feel. Everyone cares how your victims feel. Peeping is a crime, not a date. Hacking is a crime, sir, not a date. It's far outside social norms. If it's illegal, that means people don't like it when you do that. And that would include Title 18 of the United States Code, Sections 1512 and 1513. Everybody's sick and tired of the harassment, sir. So my guys are not having a hard time getting information at all. They're not. You wanted my driver's license yesterday? Duly noted for the record. And we've said that and said that and said that and said that. You want to put me in jail. You want to tell me, sit me down and go, if you'll lie, I'll give you this house. And this house has a garage. And that garage means you can never leave. Right? Duly noted for the record. You're a sick, twisted son of a bitch. You know that? They've got entire fields of study dedicated to figure out why people like you do the fucked up things you do. I've been reading some of it in my college education, sir. So while I'm going through all this, while I'm having to go, should I go to this place or that place, or should I trust this person or that person, or pretty much I don't trust anybody, but there's some people I can trust with some things. But it's never on normal things that you would be able to trust people. But we all know, Mr. Perry, once you're in jail, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Nobody has to worry about that anymore. At least not my inner circle of people. So we can't wait. Believe me. We cannot wait. When I'm in jail, I get my guys. The 40 cops that are after you, Mr. Perry, all the time, they get me this. Now, so, because other men in my life have power, and they can get me that, and your name is not on that. It's not just any words, it's those words. Arranged just like that. Not just in the same book and on the same page, but arranged just like that. Fabian intersects with Hope. Me indicates you in your selfishness, and you're just a butt-in wannabe. You're never the wanted one. Why don't you go find a woman that actually wants you? Like, what's it like to never be wanted? You're such an asshole. You're mean all the time. You cause problems. You cause drama. There's no girl, when they're little, goes, I want to grow up and meet a man that causes problems and drama. No girl said that. The word boo denotes the fear and the sadness on the right that you cause. You cause people to feel that. Nobody wants to feel that. So if my guys come around going, if you'll talk, if you'll help, we'll make you know, or you don't feel that, it's over. It'll end. The terrorization will stop. So then you want to know who told and how we found out. And I'm not told that information. It wouldn't help you if I was. It wouldn't. We all want this stopped. So since you can't do it by yourself like a big boy, it's being done for you every time you're told on. And you didn't get my driver's license yesterday, did you? You've tried more than once to get my driver's license. So, and then I found out he's trying to frame you for a murder. You know how we know? We recorded him talking about it. Yeah. We went over the incidentals, how that changed. Because if I know before, Mr. Perry, it came from a recording. You've got 3,700 emails where you were recorded trying to commit a crime against me. That would include a frame up for murder. I've never killed anybody in my life. I've never held a weapon. I've never held a gun in my life. I don't know what weapon it is that you're, going to frame me for, but I've never shot a gun in my entire life. I have never shot a gun in my entire life. Don't know how to take the safety off. Mr. Perry, stop fucking lying. You're recorded and recorded and recorded 3,700 times, sir, isn't enough for you to tell. You might need to get a grip on reality. If I was going to have someone killed or I was going to kill somebody, it would be Mr. Perry a long time ago, and this would have ended. And I wouldn't have gone to jail. And I would be with Fabian, right? It's just not my way. It's not my thing. We want the death penalty. It's a whole different thing, isn't it? We want the death penalty. We want the death penalty. You need to explain justice, wait, all the times you... Okay, let's back up. If you're recorded talking about trying to kill me more than once, Mr. Perry, you're going to have to explain that in our court. You're going to have to explain the thing with Justice Scalia. William O. Ritchie complained, if Justice Scalia had died in D.C., there would have been some protocol followed at his post-mortem investigation, and that did not happen in West Texas. What's going on? Something's wrong. You think? See, the rest of the country watches this, and they're sickened by you. Sickened by you and your corruption. If I had a dime for every time they said he's Greens and Palms in Oklahoma, those guys would be in jail. You think? Reporters going, why is he want to put her in jail every time he's got to run for office? Right. So, duly noted for the record on that too, Mr. Perry. You're not fooling anybody. These were texts to Fabian the first night Dave Robertson came in and introduced himself to me. So that you guys can look at that when you have time. These are my thoughts that I wrote down at the time of the events happening. Before I could have ever anticipated he'd go into a court of law and pretend to be the victim of an imaginary political vendetta. And there's nothing political here. He's coming up behind my house. I'm being threatened. I may have to move. May have to move to Vegas. You have to have Brandon come get me. These two people, Robert and Mandy, do not live in Texas anywhere. Robert, at the time, they both moved. But at the time, Robert lived in Arizona. Mandy lived in Florida. Neither one of them live there now, nor do they live in Texas. These are people I grew up with. I grew up with these two. You didn't know them. I did. So, not part of your legislative duty, sir, to do all the stuff I'm describing at that time. The stuff that Cheryl described she saw you do. Not part of your legislative duty, sir. So if you'll go into a court and lie once, you'll go into a court and lie again and again and again and again and again. That's just who you are. 6 times. So, there's this. This is all about stalking, sir. Legislatively, when somebody wants to pass a law, they go work passing laws. They're not creeping up on women and sitting around peeping and poking. Right? Okay, Mr. Perry, don't contact me. I don't like it. Don't contact me. I do not like it. This, nobody asked you how you feel. No one cares. Please understand that. This was also another time I forgot my phone, which Mr. Perry should have thought I was at home if I forgot my phone. But he knew I left. I went out on a date. I come home and there's some weird liquid all over my cabinet. The witness says he'll pay the landlord or the maintenance guy to get in. Or he'll pay a locksmith and get in. But he gets in these women's homes. And he has a hidden camera installed. And he broadcasts them all over the internet. And on their body, off their bodies. And off their drama that he's causing. He's making money. He's making a profit. Using their body. And by the way, we're not being compensated as we should be. So my guys, Charles, when they arrest you, we'll make sure that's all taken care of then. I'm not going to get into how that's going to happen. But it's going to happen. So, I think I already kind of have. This, I look in the cabinet and there's a fucking hole in it. Whatever chemical he used, it ate a hole through the plywood. This was a papaya. This was not some sort of deadly, it's a vitamin. This one on the right is the new vitamin. On the left, excuse me, on the left is what the plywood stuck to the fucking bottle. Yeah, you're okay. This is a man 6 days after the timing again suspicious. After I file a vandalism report saying I don't know who did it, nobody saw, but it could be my stalker. I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone else that does weirdo shit like this. Not a mark on him. Supposedly beat somebody to death with his ass while he's unconscious and drugged. He was found unconscious. I told everybody he was drugged. He didn't do it. Because we're concerned now. The timing is weird. My guys are looking. My guys are digging. They call me. They go, Cyndi, he was drugged. He didn't do it. I knew something was off of that. Everyone in Manford knew something was off of that. I had people come into my door. And they got them both. Charles Perry and his little mafia club got them both. Oh, hell no. I'm thinking, fuck no. What the fuck? They think they don't know who they're dealing with, do they? More than ever in your lives, you get caught when you fuck with me. You get caught when you fuck with me, sir. You make everybody feel disturbed and upset and anxious and scared, and everybody's tired of feeling that. So it's not hard to get information. Like Mike was drugged. So I tell the Florida State's attorney he ignores me until October. Finally, he does a deposition, but he never once asked me, how did you know? I was waiting to see if he would. I'm going to sting up somebody I think is involved. And I'm going to do it in a way. Now I can link Charles to this murder. Because Mike didn't do it. You can't kill somebody. Beat him to death. Internal decapitation. Extensive damage over his head, neck, and face, I heard. We heard that one as soon as the DA brought Lucky home. He has extensive damage over his head, neck, and face. So, not a mark on him. Even the arrest report says nothing on the left. A red swollen right hand. Well, shit. Got a needle from an IV in it. The suspiciousness of all this stuff, Mr. Perry. You really think people don't, you really think people believe you? And you're going to try to put me back in jail because you got to run for office and you need me shut up? Write it down. Write it down. Because we already have. Our judge has already heard all that. So when we want a wiretap order or something, it's not that hard to get it, from what I'm told. It's a need to know. So if you acted like you're on Charles's side, you don't get to be in the loop. Sorry. All right, so that's pretty much, it was a hell of a weekend, I guess. I just kind of did my thing. And we got all this. The whole thing blew up. I was supposed to go somewhere. I didn't go. I'm not going to get into what part of this was true and what part of this is not. Except that we do all know, we have known, Philip and Ted, Mr. Perry, have had emails since 2017 about your murder frame-up thing you wanted to do. In fact, that was right around the same time the recording came in that you were telling Fabian, I'm going to find a way to lock her up again and she won't get out this time unless she's with me. You need to give up? No, you give up. I don't want you. You're not wanted. I don't want you. See, the thing is, we all know you want me, but I don't want you back. That's what stalking is. You got one person that just can't fucking let go and move on. I'm watching Michael Weston. They're saying, yeah, nothing more pathetic than a little bitch you can't move on. You're not respected. With men, you're not respected if you can't just fucking get over it, move on, act like a dude, and stop. Because when you fuck with me, you get caught. When you fuck with me, you get told on. When you fuck with me, you get caught. And that's never happened to you before until you fucked with me, from what I'm told. So, all you have to do is comply with the law. Leave me alone. You don't get to rape me. I said no. No means no. One time is all that takes, sir. You need to get some dignity. You need to behave in a civilized manner in a civilized society. It is expected of you. And don't bother me anymore. Don't contact me. I hate it. I don't want to hear from you. Nobody asked you what you... Sorry, my allergies are bad today. Nobody asked you what you think. You know what you were asked? Get the fuck out of my life. And don't contact me again. Comply with the law. 3,700 emails that your attorney was sent, if they were from me, were about times you got caught because you wouldn't fucking comply with the law and leave me the fuck alone. People don't like the way you make them feel. Try taking the course. How to be nice to people so they don't want to hit you in the face with a brick. And you might get more cooperation. And then you won't have to ask me who told on me. Alright? Leave me the fuck alone.